What's up, y'all? So, this video is for my Tory Lanez fans. I know a lot of people ain't fooling with Tory due to the Meg situation that happened back in 2020. And it's okay. You're not a Tory Lanez fan, you don't want to hear it. This video may not be for you. But definitely, this video is for the Tory Lanez fans that want to know about his update and aftermath since he's been in prison. It's crazy, man, how that situation just turned upside down with holes that still needed to be filled to understand the whole case, the whole situation. Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the 2020 shooting. Tory's legal team is appealing the conviction, arguing that evidence was misleading. A court recently rejected his request to submit new evidence as part of the appeal. Now, I just don't understand why couldn't they have another court date if they have new evidence. But at the same time, this is what I'm going to ask. And I'm pretty sure other people are going to say, I'm thinking the same thing. If you knew Tory Lanez didn't shoot Meg, if they knew or if somebody knew this whole time, why didn't they say something to prevent a 10-year sentence? Why all of a sudden now there's new evidence? If there's new evidence, there was always evidence that he didn't do it. But allegedly, as you can see, it was a lot of trying to cover up for people or trying to just cover up stuff. But I knew in the back of my mind, something won't right. There was a separate lawsuit filed by Meg Thee Stallion allegedly against Tory Lanez, which is ongoing. Tory was recently ordered to participate in another supervised deposition for that case. Tory Lanez's legal team recently suffered setbacks in his appeal efforts, with the California court rejecting 2 petitions filed by the defense team. It just sounds like to me they're not trying to let him out of jail. They're not trying to work with him to do anything. I don't really know Tory Lanez's legal team and what they can do and how their work ethic is. I don't know any of that. But Tory may need to get a stronger team, if you know what I mean. A stronger team that's going to make moves, move mountains, if you know what I'm saying. I know his current legal team is doing the best they can, but if every time you offering something to the judge and they shoot it down, you ain't working hard enough. Especially if you know he ain't do it, you should be working above and beyond. Why is every time the legal team, his legal team, shooting something to the judge is getting declined? So I paid attention to that part because, come on, guys, if you know he didn't do it, he know he didn't do it. It shouldn't be no issue being able to present new evidence with a new court date. Tory's legal team are arguing that the prosecution's DNA evidence was misleading and that a key witness statement was not presented fairly. Okay. All these red flags. And just now in 2025, everything or bits and pieces want to come out that things won't right. We knew things won't right. We knew it back then in 2020, things won't right. But now it want to come out years later, a couple of years later. Back in August of 2025, a California court rejected 2 petitions filed by Lanez's legal team. The first petition, which was an argument based on the firearm that should have been available for examination, claiming his alleged loss deprived him of crucial evidence. The second petition was a statement from Kelsey Harris, security guard, claiming Harris admitted to firing the shots. So the security guard, he was the icing on the cake the whole time. I believe he could have saved Tory Lanez's 10-year sentence if he would have spoke up way earlier. You know, allegedly, Tory Lanez did not shoot Meg. Kelsey Harris shot Meg due to them getting into a argument over Tory Lanez, allegedly. You know, this information should have been came out. Somebody was covering for somebody back then when the situation happened. It's obvious. Why all of this information coming out now? Why now? And then his legal team offers these 2 petitions and they get declined. Somebody is working very hard behind the scenes for the new evidence to not come out. Tory Lanez paying Meg's legal fees. Yes, he's paying her legal fees due to Tory's behavior being disruptive and combative behavior during a recent deposition. In addition to financial penalties, the judge also ordered that any future depositions with Lanez must be supervised. So his behavior was pretty sure the way they putting it was off the chain. He didn't want to deal with him. He didn't want to, be in that situation, but still, maybe he should have handled it a little bit better. Now you got to get supervised and you've been charged. So you don't want that to happen again. But it's obvious he was over it, flipped out. But there is consequences to that, and he did get that. But do you see how what I just talked about opened up a lot of things, which I already knew though. I have older videos of when around this time when the Meg Thee Stallion Tory Lanez thing happened. I have old videos of that saying the same thing. There were holes that still needed to be filled. The security guard, Kelsey's security guard, should have been said something. Because the fact is right here in front of us. The security guard was there in the situation in 2020. So he knew from 2020 to now, he knew what really happened. But he says something this year. I'm telling you, somebody was covering for somebody back in 2020, and it just seemed like Tory Lanez just, he fought, but somebody somewhere behind the scenes overpowered him fighting to not go to prison. Or, like I just said, somebody was covering for somebody and he went on ahead and took that 10-year sentence. Because Tory, you knew you didn't do it. That should have been the number one thing that was talked about. You knew you didn't do it. But in 2020, they tried to make it look like he had did it. So it's crazy, man. All this. I knew eventually, it was going to be more puzzles to the pieces. I knew it. More pieces to the puzzle. I knew it. I just didn't know when it was going to come out. And it's kind of sad because his team is fighting for him. And the judge is just declining it. There is a main appeal pending. A direct appeal of his conviction is still pending. An official ruling from the Court of Appeal. Oral arguments for this appeal were held back in August of 2025. I can just imagine how much tension was in that courtroom. I can just imagine. Tory's parole eligible. Under his current sentence, Lane is eligible for a parole hearing in September of 2029. Wow. That's if his legal team really fail and not get him another court date with new evidence. If that doesn't work out, his next hearing will not be until 2029. And that's crazy. And you didn't do it. So you just sitting in jail. It's crazy. That's crazy to me. No outcome for Tory Lanez for right now at this time. While Tory's team and supporters remain optimistic about his release, he has not been successful in overturning his conviction or sentence at this time. Crazy, right? If you know you didn't do it, why is you sitting in jail? And why is the judge not granting you another court date with new evidence so that they can see what's really going on? It's a lot of questions. I'm telling you, this Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion situation is going to always be one of the craziest situations in the industry because it was always confusing, but you knew something wasn't right. But then you had others that were just, they made their mind up. Yeah, Tory shot Meg. We don't like him. Whatever. You had a lot of that back in 2020. You had a lot of supporters for Meg because they thought that Tory shot Meg. But I knew something wasn't right. And I don't know. Maybe Tory need to get a more, not saying that the legal team isn't trying, but maybe he need to get a more advanced legal team that can really move some things around and get him another court date so that he can, talk about the truth with the new evidence. But like I just been saying, that if you been knew you ain't do it, you should have just made sure you had that evidence from back in 2020 to prevent a 10-year sentence. I'm not going to wait until I get a 10-year sentence and to be like, you know what, I want to try to get out of here because I know I didn't do it and you didn't already got the 10-year sentence. Does that make any sense? No. And allegedly, this situation happened because allegedly Meg and Kelsey found out they were both having sexual time with Tory at the same time, allegedly. This is all what this is based on, and they both found out, and everybody went crazy. Well, Casey and Meg went wild. And I can just imagine in my head, now that the truth is out, why they arguing, because they have now found out allegedly they were screwing Tory. Even though allegedly I had read that Tory was seeing Kelsey first. And then he ended up hooking up with Meg too. And they just found out the night they went to, who was it? Kylie Jenner's pool party? Was it Kylie? And while Meg and Kelsey going at it, it just seemed like in my mind, Kelsey just was like, you know what? Hold up, B. And took that thing out. Tried to shoot her in the foot due to their altercation. And I just believe Tory was just sitting in the back trying to de-escalate, but I'm pretty sure it was hard to do at that time with Kelsey and Meg going off at each other over him, allegedly. But do you see how that situation just exploded into all of this? And then Meg and Kelsey, I don't even still think they friends. They're not even friends when they were best friends at one point. But after this situation, their friendship was done, was dead. I definitely remember that when it happened. Their friendship went dead as soon as the situation hit the internet. So, sad. You come in the game with your best friend, and then now you ain't even with her no more. Y'all ain't even friends no more. And life still go on. Yeah. All this allegedly is over them two, Meg and Kelsey, finding out that they both were sleeping with Tory Lanez, allegedly. Which is crazy to me, because if Tory was with Kelsey first, I just don't understand why would Meg allegedly been that upset. He was with Kelsey. Why would you be that upset unless you were enjoying the time with him and there were feelings involved? Because if you just having sexual time with someone and you guys both know where it stands, no feelings, no nothing, it's not going to be a lot of drama. But when feelings get involved, a lot of drama comes from every which way. So it must have been feelings allegedly involved with Meg and Tory when they did hook up. And come to think about it, Kelsey Harris' bodyguard may not wanted to say anything at the time back in 2020. Possibly because he could have been still working for her. I just happened to think about that. Because I couldn't understand why wouldn't the bodyguard been say something. He possibly could have still been working for Kelsey. He's a bodyguard for Kelsey, and he didn't want to mess up his money, possibly. That's the only thing I can think of with that, as far as with the bodyguard not saying anything until years later. But that's a cold blow. He knew Tory didn't do it. The bodyguard knew Tory didn't do it. And still let all of this happen and then want to come out and write a statement. That's a cold blow. He probably ain't even, bodyguard decided he want to come out and write a statement now. Possibly he ain't working for Kelsey no more. May not even be, her bodyguard anymore. So he just like, hey, I'm just going to come out, let him know, hey, it won't him. It sounds screwed up, but that's the way it seems right now. So as of right now, Tory is still doing his 10-year sentence as of right now, because there is no update on him or his legal team having a success getting another court date. Crazy. But guys, y'all know I'll be back. Peace.